Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're uncorking a topic that seems pretty simple, maybe,
Right.
but actually has some surprising depth for your professional life. We're talking about sharing wine with coworkers.
hmm It's definitely more nuanced than it sounds.
Exactly. And we're looking closely at this piece, Smart Wine with Coworkers Tips to Try This Wine Wednesday.
Yeah, it's quite insightful.
It really frames these moments not just as casual drinks, but potentially deliciously refreshing, even genuine bonding experiences.
And an art form, it says.
Yeah, turning these maybe obligation-filled extensions of work into, wow, valuable career investments.
That's a strong claim, but there's something to it.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Well, it's interesting why wine often works so well here. It's not just, alcohol.
Right, there's a specific vibe.
Exactly. The source points out it feels, well, more approachable, maybe, more relaxed than hard liquor.
Okay.
But it often has this slightly more sophisticated feel than, say, just grabbing beers. Less rowdy, perhaps.
I see that. It kind of signals a shift in gears from the regular office buzz.
Totally. Away from the Slack notifications in the cubicles, it invites a different kind of chat, a calmer one.
So it's the drink, but also the whole ritual around it.
Yeah, exactly. The article talks about how wine naturally slows things down.
You sip it, you don't really gulp it.
Right. And that
No.
creates pauses, space for, more thoughtful conversation.
Okay.
You actually get a chance to engage a bit deeper, like the example they gave, marketing and dev teams finding common ground over a Malbec.
Yeah, discovering they both like, I don't know, obscure jazz or something.
Precisely, stuff that just wouldn't come up during a frantic project meeting.
Yeah.
It's about making room for, genuine connection.
So our mission for this deep dive then is to really distill that finesse you need for these situations.
There's definitely a skill to it.
We need to get into reading the room, the culture, picking the right spot.
And the big one, personal limits.
Yeah.
Super important.
Yeah, and keeping conversations, positive and safe for work.
Plus, how to maybe suggest these things yourself, navigating the power dynamics if bosses are there.
Right. And that often overlooks skill. Knowing how to make a graceful exit.
Leaving on a high note. Crucial.
Okay, let's start at the start. Knowing your environment. The source really hammers this home.
Yeah, you can't just assume every workplace or even every team is cool with after-work drinks.
It's about figuring out those unwritten rules, isn't it? The company vibe around social drinking.
Absolutely. And it's not just the company culture, but who is going. Like drinks with your direct team. Totally different feel than if the VPs are joining or new interns.
So how do you even begin to gauge that, to make that assessment?
Well, that brings up a really key point about just general professionalism, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes knowing when not to go or when to bow out early is the smartest move.
Right, if you're unsure or the vibe feels off.
Yeah, just politely decline.
Yeah.
Or suggest coffee instead sometime. That
Yeah.
shows self-awareness, respect for the culture maybe. That often counts for more than just showing up when you're not comfortable.
Okay, good point. So assuming you've sussed it out and it's a go, the where seems just as important as the weather.
Oh, definitely.
Our source strongly suggests wine bars, maybe a nice outdoor patio, quiet lounges.
Yeah, places with a certain ambiance.
Steer clear of really noisy sports bars or clubs where you can't hear yourself think. Basically places that don't fit that professional but relaxed feel.
And bonus points for places with decent snacks, maybe some comfy seating.
Right.
And it's interesting how the setting itself helps keep that tone.
How so?
Well, a wine-focused place just kind of sets the stage, doesn't it? It
Yeah.
encourages talking over, shouting or getting too wild.
Creates an atmosphere where conversation can actually flow.
Exactly. Relaxed, but still professional. It's actually quite a strategic choice, not just random.
Okay, now for maybe the biggest and sometimes the trickiest piece of advice,
Yeah.
being smart about your limits.
Ah, yes. The golden rule.
The source called it the golden rule. 2 glasses, max. And maybe even just sticking to one if higher-ups are there?
This is critical. It's really not the same as being out with your buddies on a Saturday night.
No, career impressions are definitely still being made. It's about more than just avoiding a headache the next day, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
about keeping that professional perception sharp.
Mm-hmm.
The line between relaxed colleague and slightly regrettable oversharer can be thinner than you think.
Yeah.
It's not just about how drunk you feel, it's how you seem to others.
Good distinction.
So the advice about eating beforehand, having water handy that's basic but vital. Because even small changes in how you talk or carry yourself can signal you've had too much. even if you don't feel impaired.
Your Monday morning self will definitely thank you for being careful.
Exactly. Keep that composure, keep that reputation intact.
And related to that, while the wine might be flowing, the conversation needs a filter, a strong one.
Keep it light.
Yeah, the source says light, fun, but always, always work safe. Think like travel stories, what shows you're watching, weekend plans.
Definitely steer clear of office gossip
Yeah.
or heavy venting.
Or really deep personal stuff. Keep it
Hmm.
positive. Not fake positive, but, genuinely pleasant.
Yeah. This is where that social intelligence really comes into play.
Right.
The article mentions how careers can stumble if alcohol loosens the lips too much.
Yeah.
Things get said that damage trust or just come across badly.
So better to ask questions that bring people in.
Yeah, open-ended stuff like,
Mhm.
seen any good movies lately? Or planning any trips?
Mhm.
Things that invite sharing but don't demand, like deep vulnerability.
Builds common ground safely.
Exactly.
Okay, now here's something interesting for people who like to, take charge a bit. Suggesting wine night ideas yourself.
Being proactive.
Yeah. The source encourages things like maybe starting a rotating wine choice where someone picks a bottle each time.
Or theme nights. Those can be fun.
Totally. Like only rosé or French wines, or maybe find the best bottle under $20.
That could get competitive in a fun way.
Right. And it suggests inviting people from other departments, mix it up a bit,
Right.
but maybe keep the group size manageable so you can actually talk.
What's cool about that is how taking that kind of social initiative can subtly show leadership skills. Team building beyond just spreadsheets and deadlines.
Good point.
That wine discovery night idea they mentioned, where everyone brings something they've never tried, that automatically creates conversation.
Yeah, built-in icebreaker.
It's not just about the drinking then. It's about crafting this shared experience, building a bit of community outside the usual work stuff.
Okay, another really crucial angle. Being super aware of power dynamics.
Oh, yeah. If managers, directors, VPs are there.
The source says, read the room extra carefully. Basic rule. Don't say anything you wouldn't say in a regular meeting.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You have to realize the social rules are different when work people are involved, especially superiors. What's fine with friends might just look like poor judgment to your boss.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture.
Well, yeah, the impressions you make in these social settings, especially with managers, can really impact things down the line. Opportunities, perceptions. The article even talks about people building good mentor relationships through these kinds of thoughtful chats.
Or the opposite, right? Damaging their reputation with a dumb comment after that second glass.
Exactly. The power dynamic doesn't just vanish when you leave the office. It just gets maybe a little more subtle.
So knowing how to be yourself, but your professional self, even in that relaxed setting, that's the real art form, maybe.
That's the finesse, yeah. Nailing that balance.
Okay, finally, something the source calls an underrated skill. Leaving well.
Knowing when to call it a night.
Right. Always say thanks to whoever set it up. Simple manners go a long way.
Definitely.
Wrap up your conversations politely. Don't be the last one standing.
Please don't be that person.
And if things start feeling awkward or going downhill, trust your instincts. It's perfectly fine, actually smart, to make a graceful exit.
Knowing when and how to leave is so important. You want to leave while the vibe is still good.
Not after it gets weird or people start repeating themselves.
Right. Leaving on that positive note helps cement a good impression. That last interaction can be the one people remember.
So wrapping up our deep dive here, it seems pretty clear that understanding these tips really can shift these events from potentially awkward obligations to, well, polished professional interactions, turning those casual sips into something genuinely valuable for your career.
Well said. And, knowledge is one thing, but applying it is key. When you approach these things thoughtfully, wine with coworkers really can offer unique ways to build relationships.
Things you just can't replicate in a formal meeting room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
that shared experience, right?
Yeah.
Discovering a great Cabernet together or even just debating New World versus Old World styles,
Yeah.
those little moments create bonds. And those bonds, they do translate into smoother teamwork, more enjoyable workdays, a stronger network overall.
Absolutely. So the core advice seems to be balance the fun with being aware. Start small, maybe. Set your own rules.
And focus on the quality of the connection, not the quantity of wine.
Approach it with that kind of confidence, and yeah, your work relationships and your reputation should definitely benefit. Cheers to that.
Cheers. And this raises an important question, really. Beyond just the wine glass, how can intentionally applying this same art form, this blend of Social intelligence, self-awareness, and strategic engagement elevate all your professional interactions and relationships, turning every informal moment into a potential career-smart investment.